Hello and welcome. Today we have a couple of stories, including one about an entitled mother-in-law who fat shames her daughter-in-law and controls her meals. Sit back, relax and enjoy. My pregnant GF called me a wuss and is now refusing to come home. We've been together for 5 years. Living together for 2. Yesterday, we went grocery shopping. We do it once a week before the weekend. We both work from home, so we usually never order groceries. When we were standing in line to pay, a young mother with 2 children had a big bag of toilet paper and asked us with a little language that if she could go ahead of us in line. One of her children was screeching in a tantrum. I said sure. She then pulled a whole cart that I didn't see. When I saw the cart, I burst out laughing. The young mom was nervous at first and then she sniggered. I just said you tricked me and continued laughing because we didn't have anything to do. GF was very angry at the lady. She started yelling and shouting at her and told her that she was rude. I honestly agree with my GF. But I found the audacity laughable. Anyway, on our way home my GF didn't talk to me at all. When we got home she asked me for the car keys. I asked her where she was going. She said that she was tired of being together with a pushover and a wuss. That she's been tired for a long time now and that she wanted a real man. I was so confused and asked her when I ever was a wuss, but she just said she was staying with her mom and that she needs to reevaluate her life and relationship. She doesn't want a wuss to be the father of her child. I've been dumbfounded since she left. When have I ever acted like a wuss? And what's a real man, anyway, in modern society? It's not like men need to fight bears and wolves for food or have sword fights for our women's honor. Is yelling at an audacious mom manly? And what does she mean she wants a real man for her child? She's 6 months pregnant, so it's not like I'm gonna just wave my right away to a real man. I'm not that wussy. The comments. Sounds like this incident in her mind was the last straw of a slew of other things she deems wuss-like behavior from you. Not sure if it's the pregnancy hormones talking or what, but I do think a civil, honest discussion should be had between you two, to sort out all the issues. aitA. Thank you. Thank you for the interaction. Even the bitter ones. I will try to talk to my GF once she's ready, and I hope everything goes back to normal. I'm not sure, however, I would be comfortable staying with someone who genuinely thinks I'm a wuss, so let's hope she's just angry and wants to hurt my manliness. Have a great day. Am I the idiot for reporting my son's therapist for sharing private information with his stepdad? My M36 son's 14 dog passed away recently. I signed him up with a therapist because his dog's death has literally left him unable to speak. He's been in therapy for 2 weeks now. 2 days ago, my son called crying saying his stepdad punished him by taking his bicycle and selling it for no reason. I was livid. I went to have a word with his stepdad and he told me that there was a reason, and that is the fact that my son badmouthed him to the therapist, and claimed that he treated the dog poorly. I was floored at this. I had an argument with him and asked how the hell he knew and told him to prove that my son said all that. He showed me texts between him and my son's therapist. So basically, the therapist had been giving out private info about a bunch of stuff my son talked about in therapy. I was even more floored. I went straight to that therapist and we had a huge argument. I told him I was going to report him after he defended himself, saying the reason he gave my son's stepdad this info was because of concern as a parent. I said that I don't care what the justification was, and went on with my report. He tried to talk about how he felt for my son's stepdad and his concerns as a parent, so he didn't think he did anything wrong. My son's mom called after she found out about the report and she blew up at me on the phone, calling me a controlling idiot for what I did. I ignored her calls after that, but my wife thought I made a hasty decision and that the real problem was with my son's stepdad, not the therapist. Was I in the wrong for reporting him? The top replies. Hey, I'm a therapist. What this therapist did was against the law. Your son was not in danger of hurting himself or someone else. There was nothing helpful that could have come of the therapist telling stepdad this info. Not the idiot. Would this give original poster a legal battle to take his son full-time if original poster is interested? My question is also because usually legal confidentiality matters for minors are to be discussed between legal parents and therapists. First, how did this therapist come to the conclusion that the step-parent is a legal parent, to have any access to the kid's records, much less confidential information? Second, what, if any, releases did original poster sign with respect to confidentiality? Third, without doubt, the stepfather is a huge idiot and major issue here, both in reaching out to the therapist when had no legal right to assert himself as a parent, and then punishing the kid for what was said in therapy. Overall, it seems the therapist should be reported and this matter looked into further by the appropriate personnel, especially if the therapist thinks he was right in asserting step-parents are legal parents. Further, yes, the stepfather is a big part of the problem, and that should also be dealt with by your ex. Seems to me she knows he was wrong. Not the idiot. There's a reason those conversations are private. Not even the parents should know what is talked about. Your poor son is going to have a very difficult time trusting someone else. I've had a therapist betray me in the same way, though not with a parent. I fired him at the next appointment, and am still angry about it and not at all willing to look for a new one yet. I've also had a parent ask for information from my therapist. Many years ago, I was already an adult, and my therapist said, not only can I not tell you anything, but I also can't even confirm she's a patient. Had she done anything else, I would have felt betrayed and fired her, too. Your son's therapist is supposed to be the one truly neutral, safe person to talk to. Now he's been shown that there is no such thing. Significant damage has been done here. Please look into getting full custody. Your ex should have stood up for your son, and what the stepdad did constitutes emotional abuse. Third story. Am I the idiot for uninviting my recently widowed brother to a family event? My F29 brother's wife passed away recently from cancer about 8 weeks ago. He isolated himself from everyone for 2 weeks. Mom and Dad were so worried about him, and so they started inviting him to family events at their house. He agrees to come, but then at some point, someone mentions his wife, even just her name, and he begins to sob. I'm not exaggerating. As a result, dinner gets awkward, and whatever event is being hosted gets interrupted. This happened 3 times already. Last weekend was my turn to host dinner. I'm not going to lie, my husband and I were worried the same thing will happen again. My husband said it'd be almost impossible that no one will mention my brother's wife at some point. So he suggested I let my brother sit this one out. In other words, just let him stay home and get the space he needs. I considered the idea, then called my brother and apologized to him for canceling his invite. He wasn't happy about it, which was surprising to me because I thought he was basically forced to attend those events. My parents found out and went off on me, calling my behavior disgraceful and saying that I was unsupportive and unfeeling to what my brother was going through to exclude him like that. I explained why I thought this was the best option, but they claimed that I took away the comfort and support that my brother gets from the people around him. They said that I was selfish and have no regard for my brother's loss, but I 100% do. My husband said that my parents obviously don't care about guests being uncomfortable watching my brother sob at every event and causing it to be cut short like that. They're still pretty much mad at me and demanding I apologize to my brother because I hurt his feelings. The top comments. Because heaven forbid you to bear with a little awkwardness to come together and support and comfort your grieving brother, right? Sorry that his grief is such an inconvenience to you. The man lost her only 8 weeks ago. Of course, he's still struggling, especially since y'all can't help but bring up his wife in conversation. I'm autistic. I have a really hard time figuring out what to say when someone is upset. Do I care about people though? Absolutely. But I'm eternally awkward, and I don't really like being touched, and I don't like getting wet. Well, my friend's dad has days left to live, and my friend is falling to pieces. What did I do? Hugged her tight anyway for at least 3 minutes while she broke down and cried on my shoulder. Because that's what you do when you love someone. You get prepared to be uncomfortable once in a while. You don't get to determine how someone gets the space they need, and there's a big difference between giving someone the freedom to show up or not, and literally disinviting them from a family gathering. You sent a clear and concise message. You're not welcome, YTA edit. I hope you realize isolation is the last thing he needs right now. Isolation can cause grieving people to make harmful decisions. He lost his life partner. Don't make him feel like he's lost his other family too. Edit 2. There are often events I don't have the emotional energy to attend, but I appreciate being invited even if I can't attend because it shows me that people want me there. Fourth story. Am I the idiot for walking out of my baby shower after mother-in-law denied me food? Before I start, I'd like to say that I'm a bit of a big girl. No shame in that. I love myself just the way I am, and I have been living by the motto, be you, everybody else is taken. Mother-in-law, dear husband's mom, always made comments about my weight. Ever since I got pregnant, she started making more comments while low-key shaming me for what I eat. Whenever I visit, she'd give me a smaller plate, portion, cup, even spoons. She also buys me small size clothes even though I'm in my second trimester and those clothes don't fit. My son-in-law decided to throw me a baby shower after my dear husband denied it when my sister offered to throw me one. The whole side of my in-laws are invited. Mom refused to come after what my dear husband said to my sister, another story for later. I got there and mother-in-law was in charge of serving food to the guests. All that was served was cakes and juice. I got hungry from talking and I got up to eat some cake. The second I put my hand on the cake, mother-in-law grabbed my arm and said that I'd gained enough weight already and that if I keep tea up, her son will not be happy living with a large walrus. I was shocked. I didn't know how to react, especially since she said this out loud. She looked at me in a sorry not sorry kind of way. I put the cake down and grabbed my stuff and started walking. Her daughter stopped me saying I can't leave mid-party and embarrass her like that. I told her to tell her mom to leave if she wanted me to stay, but she went off and said, "Are you crazy? She's my mom. You want me to kick her out in front of everybody?" I turned around and kept walking. I called mom to come to pick me up and went home. Dear husband came home looking furious. He asked me to explain what I did at the baby shower and why. I mentioned what his mom did and he started ranting about how I messed this up over something so minor. I told him it wasn't minor in my opinion since she literally cut me off food and didn't let me eat when I was hungry. He said that his mom meant well and that I needed to get rid of this easily offended mindset immediately before I pass it down to our son. He said that cakes are essential foods and that this was not a good enough reason to walk out of the baby shower that his mom and sister put a ton of money, time, and effort into. He said that I had hours to call and fix things up, but I refused. I went to stay with my mom because he wouldn't stop pressuring me to call and apologize for what happened. He kept talking about how pissed and let down his mom and sister feel and called me ungrateful and spiteful for doing what I did. Am I overreacting here? More info. A lot of you asked what my dear husband said to my sister and what was the argument about. The answer is, my sister is infertile. Has been for years. The dear husband claimed that she's become obsessed with the baby simply just because she bought me stuff for the baby as gifts and wanted to throw me a baby shower. My sister is a great person and I do not doubt that she only did all that just because of how great she is/will be as an aunt. My dear husband kept insisting there was something wrong with her, which led to a fight between them and he ended up calling her possessive B and dollar. My mom kicked him out and my sister cut contact with him. The issue got worse with my brother-in-law, her husband, arguing with my dear husband as well. The top replies. Not the idiot, so your sisters weren't allowed to throw you a baby shower, which then caused your mom not to attend. Instead, your husband allowed his sister to throw one, where your mother-in-law bullied you. Is his family trying to control you, isolate you from your family, or is this a once-off? Edit. I made this comment and logged off. I've come back to an overwhelming response. Thank you to everyone for the awards. I just hope original poster can set some boundaries with her husband about his and his mother's terrible treatment. Mother-in-law is likely to make comments to their child if they are overweight, which is concerning too. Original poster needs to be careful because that's exactly how it sounds. Please take caution, original poster. Your situation with these people sounds extremely toxic and dangerous. Don't let your dear husband manipulate you into isolation from your family. because that's exactly what he's attempting to do. This is not a man you want to raise a child with. Second reply. Not the idiot. But why are you with this man? Mother-in-law is downright toxic, and at the very least your baby's father should be stepping in to defend you, not add to the BS. This is a red flag city. If they are treating you like crap before the baby even comes, how do you think you will be treated after? They have no respect for you and are treating you like an incubator. After the baby comes, you won't be able to do anything right, and they will make you feel even worse about yourself. Worst of all, they will talk down to you in front of your son, so he will grow up thinking it's okay to treat you and others like that too. If I were you, I would GTFO. You have excellent self-love. Don't let them take that from you, and protect your child from those people. Heaven forbid he gets a little pudgy as he grows up, because then he will be made to feel like he is less too. But he won't have built up the thick skin it takes to deal with them as you have, and what it does to him could be much worse. I grew up being called fat by my mother and developed an eating disorder that I still struggle with today.